Hello everyone, this is WWE Gaming and welcome to a brand new installment of Future Langrisser. Well, I'd say global version of it. So this time around we're going to talk about the next upcoming update in global version, and this one is Dragonslayer. Yep, he's finally coming to the game after a long time of waiting or in anticipation. So now we're receiving the third LR character. Yep, and this character is Vargas. And let's take a look what his talents and skills are before we talk about other things that are coming on this update as well. So anyways, hopefully I cover most of it, but if not, maybe all of it perhaps. But let's see what his talent is. So first off, let's talk about what this guy is about. So when it comes to the talent and also the attribute that he has, Dragonslayer, he has Demon and Flyer class, and also the faction he's part of are Empire, Dark Reincarnation, and US Legends. And his talent is pretty unique. Like unlike most of the characters that we have so far, this character has a unique thing that's exclusive to him, I think. But anyways, maybe we will be seeing more. But for now, it will be exclusive to him, and which is the first part says reverses the role of class advantages against enemies. So the second may be asking, what do you mean by that? Well, here's the thing. Depending on what class he's on, like if he's a demon or flyer, usually the class advantage is like archer is strong against flyer, while hollies are strong against demons. Well, for Dragonslayer, those roles are reversed. So basically, as a demon, he'll be strong against holly, and then as a flyer, he'll be strong against archers. And also for demon class, if you're fighting against Apo is gonna suffer more damage than he normally would because the class advantage reverse. So yeah, this is pretty nuts. So yeah, already. But as far as the meta goes in PvP, people already switch out some of the holy heroes for mage ones now. Like for me, I already changed my Jace and Celica to mage instead of the usual holy because of this. So yeah, he might not be shining much, but however, the other part of it is what makes up for his sheer power. So let's see, damage taken is reduced by 15, 20, 25, 30% depending on star level. When any unit dies within 3 blocks of Dragonslayer, it doesn't have to be your units. It could be enemy units as well. So if you have an enemy die within 3 blocks of him, he's gonna gain Fury, and which will not make him not die when taking fatal damage. And this will instead restores HP to the amount before damage taken, which is pretty interesting. And reduces Fury buff duration by 1 turn. So yeah, this revive is pretty unique because unlike most revives that we have, that's basically like a permanent thing. This is a temporary thing, but however, instead of taking that revive, your Fury's duration will be reduced by 1 turn, and this one lasts for 2 turns, by the way. So just keep that in mind. And then while Dragon Slayer's max HP is reduced by 30, 25, 20, 15%. So yeah, even though if he proc that revive, he's gonna have his max HP reduced. So yeah, just be aware of that when you're out there when you're playing with him. When the enemy stands within 3 blocks of Dragon Slayer, the enemy will be attacked automatically by him, or by Dragon Slayer, I mean. And also, while in this situation, the attack cannot be guarded against. So if you have someone that's like a tank per se, and your unit just like stand right in his range, that tank is not going to save you. So just be careful when you're approaching him. Although thankfully, as far as I've heard from the main core community or Discord community, saying that there's gonna be a new accessory that can basically counter against this thing, which enables units with Omega talent. So what do you mean? What I mean by that is that whenever you like after attacking, your character will jump back to where they started. Yeah, that is the one aspect that Omega has. Like imagine more characters with that skill. Like honestly, that is totally broken if you think about it. But it's also in a good way against Dragon Slayer because you do not want to stand near him while like ending your action. You do not want to get hit by this guy. But I'm not sure when exactly is that accessory going to come, but maybe in the next few months. But we'll have to see. Anyways, moving on. And by the way, I did mention this earlier. Is that this the like the fairy buff will last for 2 turns, and also there's no way you can dispel it. Just keep that in mind. And one more thing: if the Dragon Slayer's HP is higher than the enemy's HP, he will attack first before the enemy during combat, and restores 30% of damage dealt as HP after combat. Yeah, he is really menacing. Like in all fronts, like both offense and defense. So if you ever see him on the field, be prepared to fight him. And also, since he is coming to the game, it's possible that people will start using Enya more now than Dragonslayer because he is the next first ban unit. So far we got three first ban choices in the meta. Like Dragonslayer is one of them, Enya is the other, and the third one is Ilya. It'll be interesting to see how players will do in the pagan ban against this dude because this guy is absolutely nuts. Now let's talk about what skills he comes with. He has 4 unique skills, but 2 of them are actually 2 phases, by the way. So anyways, let's talk about what those skills are. So 2C skill, Dragon's Contempt. This is a guard skill, by the way. This one has a passive skill where whenever an ally is attacked within 1 block, he's going to enter battle in their place instead of them. Reduces the chance of being critically hit by 30%, and is immune to displacement effects. And this is huge because most tanks that we have nowadays have like a displacement effects, like Tyrantel. I think Christian's exclusive as well, and also I think Lightbringer maybe. But anyways, depends if you have electric headwear. That is. Other than that, this is a nice thing for Dragonslayer to have for like if you want him to be defensive, he can do that too, just like his normal self, like normal Vargas. I would say the SR one. Yep, the LR Vargas still guards, which is nice to see. And also, when you activate this skill, Dragonslayer will be able to counterattack range attacks within 2 blocks, and then it adds 20% defense to attack that cannot be dispelled, which is pretty nice. The guard range is increased to 2 blocks, and if there's a Fury effect that he has, the guard range is increased by 1 additional tile, or 1 additional block, which will last for 3 turns, and you can get this back instantly without worrying about the downtime of this guard range. So yeah, in my imagination, like the Fury effect, if Dragonslayer has it, he is essentially like Lamford's guard. Like honestly, it's actually pretty nuts. But also you can reference this as the 3C for the Vargas himself, like the regular Vargas. That he also did 3 guard range as well. So yeah, this is nothing new per se, but it's just that it's a nice thing to have for him. And next up we got his 1C skill, which is Wrath of the Burning Soul. It's a 3-turn cooldown, self buff, self cast, and it's a single target. And the passive part of this is that you cannot die after receiving fatal damage, but restores HP by 50%. This effect can only be triggered once per map, which is fair. But after the Fury, it's just going to add more revives onto him, which is pretty nuts. And this skill, active use, greatly improves Dragonslayer's offensive and defensive capabilities, and this will last for 2 turns, and gains Fury. If there's already an effect of Fury, when using it, can move another 3 blocks and attack again. So this is situational. So you either get this by like giving yourself Fury, or if you already have one, this will be treated as a self-act against skill, which is pretty nice to have. And finally, let's talk about the 3C skills. There's 2 phases here. So the first phase is Heaven Breaking Dragon. It's a 2-turn cooldown, 3 blocks, and 3 blocks AoE. So this is pretty complicated when it comes to the description, like how I'm putting everything together. This is a rough idea I have. So it targets a block in a straight line. So this is a linear skill, in fact. At the start of the next round, gains the effect of Fury and enters the Dragon's Fury state. And basically, and also this skill is going to be replaced by Fiendish Flame Field, and this basically does damage that increase by 30%. The buff durations will not be reduced at the end of the effect, and then teleports to the target location and deals 0.3 times AoE damage within like 3 blocks of Dragonslayer, which is pretty nuts. And then the above effect is triggered immediately if the hero already has Fury. After use, it can act again. The mobility of this action is equal to the remaining mobility. Dragon's Fury can't be immunized or dispelled, and can coexist with the Fury state. So basically, he can have 2 different Furies active at the same time. Honestly, this is pretty nuts. And let's see, is there like a thing where it will like end its duration, or was he always going to be upset? Let's see. It doesn't say when exactly it's gonna last, but I may be wrong. Anyways, we'll see in the global version if there's actually like an expiration on that one. So we'll just have to see. So the next part of his 3C is called Fiendish Flame Field. It's a 5-turn cooldown, 1 block, and it's a single target. And the passive part of this is that receive fixed damage is converted into healing. And the cooldown of all skills after combat is reduced by 1. Oh, pretty nuts. And yeah, basically this passive right here, essentially, like, if you have an enemy that does fixed damage against you, do not worry because that is going to be converted into healing for yourself, which is absolutely dirty if you think about it. Because like now you can't even use Ragnarok against this guy. Like he is absolutely crazy. And the command is that enemies within 3 blocks around Dragonslayer can't receive the act again effects. When going beyond the range of the command, an additional 1 mobility point will be spent. Oh my. This command skill is another one of those, Ice Abyss second 3C, where if your opponent foolishly did act again on allies that are like within the range of that, the act again is not going to work. Yes. So yeah, if you ever fight against Dragonslayer and if he is in his second form of his 3C, don't use act again near him because you are wasting it. So don't try it. I mean, mostly you won't be able to stand that close to him because he will attack you. That's another part of his talent. Yeah, anyways, moving on. The physical damage part is a single target. Attacks a single enemy, dealing 1.7 times damage before combat. All equipment effects on the enemy will be disabled, except max HP. When the target is an NPC, the effect is replaced by all stats minus 30%. And this will last for 2 turns, and you cannot dispel them. And after combat, a description of the enemy's equipment and skills will be attained, up to 2 pieces for each part. The same equipment cannot be obtained twice, except for max HP. When a target is a non-player hero, the effect is replaced with all stats plus 30%, when this will last for 2 turns. So yeah, this skill is pretty nuts if you like imagine it. So yeah, when you attack an enemy afterwards, you're gonna disable all the actually no before combat you'll disable all their armor pieces, and then after battle you will steal one of their equipment. Well, not necessarily steal, but copy per se. You'll steal it from them, and then make it as your own. Like imagine Dragon Slayer with the armor that could be pretty strong, or a weapon per se that can be pretty strong. Like he's all over the place. But of course, you can only have like up to 2 of those at a time to make a balance. But here's the thing though. If you end up getting a gear that's the same thing, it does not stack. By the way, so yeah, just you don't have to worry about much if you think like last rites will have a double effect. No, it's not gonna work like that because it doesn't allow you to have duplicates, and only one of them can exist at a time. So that makes more sense. But however, if you're in PVE or you're fighting NPCs or non-player hero, you're gonna have the stats reduced instead of like the accessory or the equipment disable instead of that one. So yeah, the stats will be reduced by 30% in the place of like the equipment's disable. While if you're getting yourself some gear, you're gonna get all stats increased by 30% instead, which is a good trade off. And all these will last for 2 turns, which is nice to know. So, anyways, I couldn't wait to have this guy on my team because he is absolutely crazy. And who should I replace? That is something I had to think of myself because I kind of feel there's one unit that's in my box that most likely gonna get replaced, but for now it will be like this for time being. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the next part of this, which is like the banners. So, of course, this is the banners that we are expecting for this update, and the first week obviously we'll be expecting Dragonslayer, starting on the 13th of March all the way to April 9th. And then on week two, we'll be expecting a radar banner for Virelia and Prezia, starting on the 20th of March all the way to April 2nd, which is the same exact day that Nintendo announced Switch 2, which this is just a plug-in off topic per se, but it's just that the timing is almost perfect. And then on week three, we'll be expecting Amadeus and Isolde radar banner, and Girl in the Shell, Rosalia, and Patricia's Destiny banner, starting on the 27th of March all the way to the end of the major update, which is April 9th. And keep in mind that some of these banners may switch around because, last update they switched around one Destiny banner to the first week instead of the usual third week, which is kind of unusual for Zilong to do. But hey, you're gonna have to expect things that are like not what you expect. And also the wish banners for like the normal rotations, those ones they're still gonna be available on the respective weeks. So week two, wish banner of Langrisser 1, 2, and 3, and then Langrisser Mobile 1 and Mobile 2 are also going to be available for week two. And then for week three, there's also wish banner for Langrisser 4 and 5. And then finally the final week, there's like a wish banner of Tensei heroes. Well, some Tensei heroes. So anyways, the fourth week starts on the 3rd of April and it ends on the 16th of April. And this one features two Destiny banners. One features Azusa, Light of Genesis, and Theon. And the second one features Bozel, Liana, and Luna. And that is the classic cycle. And as far as I'm aware, the classic cycle does in fact gets paused in certain updates. So be warned about that one. But however, luckily they will resume it at later updates. So just keep that in mind. Okay, next let's talk about the events/changes to expect. So the changes we already got in the game, so they're grayed out for this one. So we're gonna only talk about the events we'll be expecting here. So the first one we're gonna talk about is the Magic Tower Conquest. The auto chess mode is coming back in this update, which is nice to see. And with the addition of Dragonslayer, I could imagine he can be pretty broken in that mode. Yeah, it's pretty nuts if you think about it. And then the Secret Realm event, which will give you free SR Chris 150 shards, which is actually a good amount. And then the changes. I'm gonna say this briefly. We got the stamina refill that we got from last month, and then we also got the Apex map randomizer in friendly duels, which is nice. Additions. They both are now in the game, by the way. So if you check in the game, you already notice those ones are already in. Okay, next up, let's talk about the new confession and exclusive. So we got a new exclusive armor for Seraphina. Yep, she is finally getting a gear for this update. HP increased by 10%. Applies a random debuff to all enemies Seraphina passed. After dealing damage with an active attack, including fixed damage, applies a random strong debuff to the enemy. So this armor right here is just going to be helping Seraphina capitalize how dangerous she could be with a poison, and also as she like stacking up those debuffs on those units, they will die. It will eventually, as long as they have 4 debuffs on them and they're in the corrosion, like the strongest poison. Yeah, you can imagine that this is gonna be nuts for her. So, do I think she's gonna make it back to Apex? It just depends. It depends on what box you're running her on, because a lot of people run her with infantry for wings, and then there's assassin, which unfortunately she can't equip wings like that. So, yeah. Anyways, I chose my Seraphina to be infantry, so that way she can use the wings. And the new confession this time around will be Enya. Yep, last time it was Tiana, and now it is Enya. Enya's turn to get the confession. which is quite exciting to know how much battles have we used her in. Spoiler alert, it's probably not much because most people will ban her, but like first of course, but later this will change when Dragonslayer comes on board because Enya. I think a lot of people are starting to know how to counter Enya more than the new heroes nowadays because Ilya is out of control. Dragon Slayer is also out of control. Enya is okay as long as she is not copying someone that can pretty much be dangerous. So yeah, all that stuff that Zilong had done, which caused a lot of people quit Apex, which I could not blame them because Apex nowadays is becoming like a hell experience instead of being fun. But it is probably just me. But anyways, moving on. Let's talk about the new. Oops, there's something wrong with the wording here. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. I was just thinking, like, hold on, how did that slip off my radar? I was like, hold on a minute, that word doesn't sound right to me. So, anyways, new casting skills we got this time around. First up, we got is Lana. Int is increased by 5%. Unit range is increased by 1 tile. Before using a skill to attack, Lana gains random buffs equal to the amount of enemies hit. So basically, Lana is great against like groups of enemies, like essentially capitalizes her AoE capabilities. But do I think she's gonna be usable in PvP? I would say not necessarily. But yeah, Lana's days are just long gone right now. But I don't think this casting is gonna bring her back. But although she is great for PVE, that's granted. I mean, that is actually worth that's worth noting here. And well, granted for Lana, like she really needs this upgrade honestly because right now Lana is just a typical mage, but this will actually make her unique. Next up, we have is Ainz Orgon, the Overlord from the or known as Lord Mamanga from Overlord. Anyways, he is getting a casting in this update. Int is increased by 10%. When Ainz Orgon gains buffs, the buff durations is increased by 1 for himself. So it doesn't matter which buff he gets, he's going to get 1 extra turn for that one, which is nice. And then Sophia is getting the casting in this update as well. I've heard a lot of people use Sophia in PvP as of lately. She is just so good with that cooldown reduction skill, and she's finally getting some love in this update. Int increased by 10%. When casting a skill on ally units, additionally dispels 2 debuffs from the allies. So yeah, essentially, if you use like a skill that can like dispel like whatever like the assist skills per se, she's gonna dispel 2 more debuffs from them. So if you have mass heal or a 3C heal, it's gonna adds up like more debuffs removal, which is nice. And finally, we have Julian. Julian is gonna be resurging the meta with this one. Attack is increased by 5% before initiating combat with an active attack. If any enemy on the field has less than 100% HP, deals 2 times of attack as fixed damage to the target before combat. So essentially, Julian becomes like a single target monster if you think about it. Like he's an assassin that moves pretty far. As long as you have an enemy that's like below 100% HP, or I should say injured, in any way or any form, I would say, Julian is just gonna become a Ragnarok assassin. Like I mean, much stronger than that, which is absolutely nuts. So, do I think Julian's gonna be making a comeback in PvP? I would say definitely for sure, depending on which box you're running him in. I'll probably say rush single target, but he could also work in AoE rush as well. But in most general usage of Julian, I would say he probably works best more on single target, of course. I mean, he does. He also has AoE and on his of his own, but that one, I think it works only in single target. I might be wrong. We'll have to see how it works in the very soon as these guys drop. And finally, before we close off this installment, I'm going to give you guys a reminder of what is going to be coming next in the next couple of months. So the next month, oh god, whoops, my bad. Anyways, the next upcoming update of a major update the next month we'll be expecting Rendell and Hibiscus on the way, and then they could bring something new to the meta, by the way. So you may want to pull for them if you need them, and of course, you're gonna need to summon for them with caution because we'll be expecting something big after these ladies done with their major update time. And also don't forget that this update also adds SP Tiaras. If you're interested of getting her SP, this update is for you. And what I mean the next month update of like why you should summon with caution is because the next MU is a collaboration update. And that collaboration is the well anticipated and well weighted collab of all times. And that one is Dead or Alive 6. Yep, we're finally getting that collab in global after like 4 or 5 months of waiting. Yeah, we'll be getting to that point soon. But for now, it is too early to say what they are. So we'll leave it at that for another time. So hope y'all prepare your resources because we'll be summoning like crazy in the next coming months. Well, as for me, it just depends on how many of those do I have remaining because I do not want to spend them all in one go. So, anyways, hope y'all have a great time out there, and also good luck on your summoning if you're considering pulling for Dragonslayer. And hopefully you can have enough for other units you want to pull for. Until then, hope y'all find this video helpful and informative, and I'll see you all next time.